Men should not have to fork out thousands of dollars on a ring just to make you feel special, literally what the title says. I hear far too often from people how their wife/husband is not happy with their ring, and insists on taking it back for one they themselves pick out, bigger diamond, more shiny, overall prettier. Mind you, 90% of the rings they love cost upwards of $10,000 and leads to having to finance something as silly and minuscule as a ring which could be spent on something far more important. You could have simply had just as good if not better of a ring for 1/10 the price. Especially considering a $1,000 ring is a hell of a lot cheaper to replace if lost or stolen. Edit. Just as clarification, this post is not based on personal experience, however is based on the current crowd of people/area I live in. Many people are telling me to just find someone else. I assure you this does not pertain to me, as my wife told me, and I quote, just go to JCPenney when they have their sale. Thank you for the concern, however, lol. Dated a girl who wanted to not even have a diamond, fake or real. We were looking at other cool things and had a few ideas in mind. Pretty irrelevant to me now though, lol. Not all girls want sparkly rocks though, some want space rocks, dinosaur bones, and resilient metals all in one ring. OMG, why'd I think you were talking about customizable ring doorbells? As a girl, I completely agree. I think getting a real diamond is just silly. I'd much rather get a fake diamond and use the money towards the wedding, honeymoon, or a house. My husband got me a big ring and I actually went and got a plain thin band instead, after talking with him about it, of course. I don't understand the giant jewelry phase, seems gaudy to me. I feel like so many Redditors are in toxic relationships, gender war shit like this becomes treated as the norm. It's not. My wife and I didn't have much when we got engaged. I bought her a really pretty ring that she loved that cost well under $1,000. What we could afford now doesn't matter, it holds a special place in her heart because I gave it to her. That's the real value of a ring. If you are trying to marry someone who doesn't understand that, you should not marry that person. I don't disagree with the cost aspect of this idea, but I disagree with the generalization that girls only would want a different ring because they want one that's more expensive. Yes, the idea is that the ring is a symbol of the love and commitment being made, but at the end of the day, that ring is what the spouse will wear for the rest of their life, ideally. Both parties should want it to be something that the wearer will love and feel comfortable wearing. If someone proposes with a ring, no matter how little or much they spent on it and the proposee truly doesn't like it, then I think they should work together to find a different one. There can be a number of personal reasons one doesn't like the ring they're proposed to with. I think it's a gross overstatement to assume people only want to replace a ring to get a more expensive one. That being said, I think the same argument can apply for who pays for the ring. I've always offered to pay for or split the cost of an engagement ring if I'm the one who's going to be wearing it for the rest of my life. I agree that no one should have to do anything of the sorts. But in the case of it being silly, well, to each their own. People have different financial situations as well as reasons for spending a ton of money on a ring. With regards to financing one, I agree that is kind of silly if you are financing it because you feel like you need to reach way beyond your financial means to appeal to someone's preferences. Personally, I spent a lot of money on my wife's ring. However, I did so because I put a lot of work into the ring. I came up with my own design, met with a custom jeweler and planned out the design, waited weeks for custom wax mock-ups of the ring, made adjustments and waited weeks for a final mock-up, hand-picked the diamond and had it cut the way I wanted it, and then waiting nearly 6 months for the final product. That all might seem dumb and pointless to some, and I won't try to convince you otherwise. However, for me it was a labor of love. I really enjoyed coming up with a ring design myself for my wife to have that she would know I out effort into, as opposed to walking into a jewelry store and picking one out of the cabinet. Also, I always imagined it could become some sort of family ring that we could pass down. As for a $1,000 ring being more easily replaceable, I wouldn't say that is exactly true. I have my wife's ring insured and it cost me $13 a month. It can get lost or stolen and I will get the amount insured to have another made. To add, I have the designs and all the measurements so I can get an exact recreation of it given I get another diamond the same grade and clarity. So as far as a more expensive ring not being easily replaceable, I'd say it's at least equally as easily replaceable as a less expensive ring, and if anything having that insurance on it provides a sense of relief knowing that if anything happens to it we can get it recreated. But all in all, I don't disagree with everything you said. I think for a lot of people the expectation of an expensive ring can be kind of silly. You should never stretch yourself beyond your financial means. And if you find yourself with someone who expects you to do so, then they are completely ignorant to the fact that their acceptance of said expensive ring, after marriage, is also an acceptance of the associated debt. This isn't an unpopular opinion on Reddit at all. On every relationship or AITA thread concerning a ring, any girl who wants more than a few $100 worth of a ring is crucified. It's practically a competition to see which girl can be cool and not want an expensive ring. My BF proposed to me with a rubber band and 10 years later we're still happily married. Really? I've literally never heard of this happening. I live in a pretty rural/poor part of the US, so that might be the reason. But either way, if my so was unhappy just because I didn't spend much on the ring, I would seriously reconsider the relationship. Then date someone with the same values as you. This isn't difficult. I mean, he's the one who wants to marry a girl that requires an expensive ring. If that's the girl he chose, then yeah, he's probably going to have to fork out thousands. But this shouldn't be a surprise. He should have had a sense of how much she cares about that kind of thing well before he's popping a question. I honestly believe if you don't have at least a passing idea of what your so wants in a ring to begin with, you shouldn't be getting married. There is no guarantee you're going to nail it. In fact, you probably won't. But if you are so far off she wants to trade it, you really need to be paying more attention to her in the first place. If it's a matter of you being unwilling or unable to get what she wants, then that should be a warning sign to you of future problems. You should really think hard about whether or not to propose in the first place.